Welcome to ConnectFX 2016. I'm excited you all could make it. For those of you who I haven't met yet, my name's Trent Durr and I'm the President and CEO of Liquid Frameworks. First, I'd like to start off the conference by thanking all of you. Thanking you for your support of Liquid Frameworks, thanking you for your support of FieldFX, and thanking you for being willing to spend your time here with us, with your fellow customers, to share your successes, share your ideas, compare notes, and really learn from each other. Because we feel like one of the most important things we can do with all of our customers that use FieldFX is periodically have you get together and share your learning, share your experiences. Because we've thought that you would use FieldFX in certain ways, and you wind up using it in far more creative ways, solving problems we'd never imagined. And we think the best way to share those learnings that you have is to periodically get together. So we really appreciate your willingness to get together and share those ideas and spend time with us. So we really thank you for that. To kind of kick off the content part of our session, I wanted to bring up a quote from Peter Drucker, a pretty well-known management consultant. Peter Drucker said, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." What was he talking about? He was basically saying, although business strategy is really, really important, company culture is far more important. And especially in times like today, especially that we're going through in the oil and gas sector and the energy sector in particular, you'll see that actually culture winds up being far more important than strategy. Your ability to adapt to change and adopt change sometimes is the definition between success and failure. So why did Drucker think this was so important? It was really the ability to adopt and adapt to change is really a competitive advantage. So having an agile culture is a competitive advantage. Number one, an agile culture is unique. You can actually duplicate a company's strategy. You can copy it from one company to another. You can't copy a culture from one company to another. Also, an agile culture is efficient. If you have a team that's used to adapting to change, and if you have a team that understands your overall company goals, if something comes up, they'll very efficiently deal with it in line with those goals, even if you don't have a policy manual that deals with every single possible scenario that comes up. Also, an agile culture is resilient. By resilient, I mean when something came up that nobody expected, an agile team will still deal with it in stride and adapt to it. It's because if they understand the company goals and they're used to dealing with change, when something that comes up that wasn't expected, they'll react to it much better than a team that's much more constrained and more resistant to change. And finally, an agile culture tends to be self-correcting. By self-correcting, I mean when a team understands what the goals are and it's used to dealing with change, when something that happens that's out of bounds, outside of company policy, outside of company goals, the team will much more naturally self-correct and bring that activity back into line with overall company goals. So those are all reasons why Drucker and other management consultants and business leaders feel like an agile culture is so important. Well, what does that have to do with us, and what does that have to do at this conference? At Liquid Frameworks, our goal for FieldFX is that our product be an enabler for change. It actually make it easier for you to get business benefit and actually make it easier for you to implement change, not harder. And that's because we all know the right tools actually can make it easier for you to get the right performance out of your culture. So we take this to mind when we're developing the product, when we're helping you implement the product, when we're providing support, and actually when we're creating new releases. We're constantly thinking about how's this going to be adopted by our customers, how is this going to help them facilitate change. We do this through a belief that we look at FieldFX as a customer enablement platform. Basically, it should be a tool that helps you implement change, not be a hindrance to that change. So how do we do that? Number one, we believe FieldFX should always feel familiar. From the very beginning, the product was designed for field workers in oil field services, industrial services, and environmental services. From the very beginning, we were very sensitive to the fact that if end users do not embrace the solution, if they don't use the solution, you're not going to get the business benefits that you had anticipated. So we think in everything we do, how can we make the product feel familiar so that it's embraced by the end users? Also, FieldFX should always grow with you. This is a key principle because we also know as a key change management concept that you basically need to introduce change into your organization at the rate in which it can absorb it, and every organization is different. So if you introduce change at a rate in which your team's ready to use it, then you're more likely to get end-user adoption, you're more likely to get the benefits that you'd anticipated. So often a big bang approach, introducing everything you want to do all at once, is not the right strategy. So that would be a wrong approach for us to design our product around that. So we basically design our product so that you can adopt and grow users as you need them, adopt new modules, and adopt functionality as you need it incrementally. Also, we believe FieldFX should work everywhere. It needs to work online, it needs to work offline. It basically should work everywhere you have field personnel, and we know you all have field personnel that are sometimes connected, sometimes they're disconnected. We also firmly believe when you have employees that are using FieldFX and they transition from the offline state to the online state and they need to synchronize, that synchronization should be quick, it should be effective, it should be seamless. They shouldn't have to think about it. It shouldn't delay what they're doing. So we're constantly thinking about how to make the synchronization process faster, more seamless, and even behind the scenes. We also feel FieldFX should capture everything. We work with you all the time. We get feedback daily from your projects, through support, through talking to our sales team, and at conferences like this. You give us guidance on where our roadmap should go, what the product should do, what our functionality should be. But we know even in doing that, there's always going to be things that you have in your own company that are unique to you, that you're going to need to do that maybe none of our other customers do. So we know our product needs to be extensible across its fields and its forms, across the reports and dashboards, to do the things that are unique to you, that you have the ability to implement things that we'd never thought of. And so that's the reason why we feel like FieldFX needs the ability to capture everything you do in the field. And finally, FieldFX should fit like a glove. It should work the way, in the workflows and the business rules, the way you want to work, not the way we thought you might want to work. And we're also highly aware that as your business changes, as business dynamics are different, what you may want to do today could be very different 6 months from now. And it should also be easy for you to tweak those rules, tweak those workflows, so that they fit the way you're doing business down the road, not necessarily just the way you initially thought you'd do business when you first started using FieldFX. So when we're working with the product and we're actually developing the product, coming out with new releases, working with you on implementing the product and providing support, we're always thinking about those 5 key principles. Number 1, FieldFX should feel familiar. FieldFX should grow with you. FieldFX should work everywhere. FieldFX should capture everything. And FieldFX should fit like a glove. And so those are the key principles that we have behind the concept of trying to make the product so that it's an enabler for change for you, not something that makes it harder for you to implement change. And you'll notice change is a key concept in all of our presentations that you'll see throughout the day. Sometimes it'll be about process change, sometimes organizational change, sometimes change in how you're actually using FieldFX itself, but that'll be an underlying theme today. And I'd encourage you to, as you look at the sessions, attend as many as you can. And I hope you get all the benefits that you anticipated you were going to get out of today. And with that, I welcome you to ConnectFX 2016.